fofana fofana la kay mason asri yalle ma abara mu fofana bora ama yera mana maya ba fofana dianyo ama yera mana maya ma fofana dianyo amedi da zanga ni delle ma amedi da de bora kwale la kay mason yango yalle ma amedi manawa bate ba sheri ngani lelle ma amedi manawa bate ba kone furu kanyole we amedi manawa ali dozo de senyina niko mwata dozo go maye ba dozo furu kanyole ye ali dozo ye mwane kweshi mwato mwene go mwanye wabo kamarala kamarala kai maso nyango yale mamole kamara bora aye sedi duwa vutenu ma fatu ma fofana diano mwaye sedi diana molu ma fatu ma sherile Muhammedi kamara wato Muhammedi ba mwanyi wabo kamarala kamarala kai maso asiri yale ma awa ture diana je amo yera mana fabole mana wa oh mo yera mana mwana yera ke kamara ye kamarala ka fare wote dunya kono wato wato lego amo yera mana mo kore kamara diana je amo yera mana wato musa go ai te sadi to wote no ma musa fofana bora mama yani fuje mama fofana diana je bena jatile koroto mu kamara dianyo amo yera mana Muhammedi kamara funo aye sadi koroto mu le ma koroto mu kamara bora kamara la kai maso nyambo yande Muhammedi sherile yaye kamara de senyane ko mwanya wabo kamara la baba gali diana mole ye babi sherile baby gali sher ko bole we mwato yaye ko amo yera mana mase bandore bora de madamu kampe wo mase ba mana wa amo yera mani londe na amo yera mana musa do sobora musa youtube mo bale bena jatile o bena tumanale yako kele teba nyangwa ya kele teba amo yera mana so funyo alaga no mo sa joya lolle ma america jula bora yako kele wote dana wo mato dia na moibo asiri ya kele wote bana wo president manawa bangali manawa travali manawa ivarien president wa madengo president ayedi bangali ma bangali travali amo yera mani no dena ikadi mi yangwi ma do wora wato ndiana moiko ikagwe mi yangwi ma bo wora bena chatile dongiri lala bena diana mole be america jula bora de president manawa kafumba manawa ayeti koroma lolena la sine chabade maso basheri dawa tene konde barika kamara bebe dawa musa kamara barika fadu kamara sherile abramu fofana mayeba fofana diano amedi dade bemi kone la kafare manja bate basheri dawa mwata konera ali dozo bemi mayeba sheri dawa made basheri dawa made badozo funyo mwole peshiwo kamara la kamwa koromanja fatu masheri dawa fofana bebe dawa basole manawa fabole manawa kamara la kailolena mbena jati dawa mwato musa kofe musa fofana barika mama sheri dawa mama fofana dianyole mwato akemu kamara la kaimanawa mbena jati dawa ye bokele deba ayadi yayi kamara baby girl dianyo maseba manawa
bede na yoya. Nanke bede. We nanke bede ya. Nanke bede na yoya. Tsunami yo, tsunami ya. Nanke bede na yoya. When you bring one crown on me don't more. Oh, can of crown on me don't more. Nanke bede na yoya. We. Yeah. No one a menya niya sambe ya na me wanwa yontia sienko yo nanke bede na yoya iwiase mu wane mpa depa oba pa say di wane benya iwo offense obuadi yo mesi mintini wuja yo adia me penso na mi po mintimi nya wa kwajroda mi yuwe ya na mi wane obi abayu abana be Girl, we ana me wano, yontia siepa, wonko we. Nanke bede na yoya, usukura na me dono mo. Se musika nka mesida ya chenwo, minya sika metonto mabama nwa. We nantia sietwa ye mwe, nanke bede na yoya. Necha na me dono, abagi ya mu bedie. Nisuba mpenti na mi wano, nanke bede na yoya. Can you do once a mudia na me dono more? Oh, can Korano na me dono more. Nanke bede na yoya. We. Menya mi kunu na de menya mi bempa na mo mama so mo nyome bemme na so ni mi bewa men so matia kan so yesi mu obi don yo bi don tiro onwa na me se mi don no amoma me no no e nanke bede na yoya usu kura na me don mo obi do obi nti asia mi se be ma bo ya na mi ba woni binti na yende odon enim sika o Cheme chansi ya mama na sumonyo no Uma na sunju na no amane wosu watonu Nefa ne nyetwe apian tra upie Enyira no pewiane enyumiro Na die ndesi woni mi bewa Bo mismiri ni bewa Nanke bede na yoya Owu wanyi ne champo wana me dono Eti no bia beka bi ya minti yo Ayon boy ya bana be Oni ye wuna mamia Missy me na mi dendo na won so si mi ni nyai ring nyai nam ko wi ya ba be ya ba nanke bede na yoya ukaye de won se mo wana me dono mo o kana korano na me dono mo nanke bede na yoya yeah hey oh hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Nana mejuma mi ye yo nyami amawai, minyu mtwe mensi yana bebia. Achedi na le nyami di cheni yo. Tuta mi wa wuta mi ko. Utu mi tuya wo sen wakora bo wai. Ebi se do nyami eshura no na wochura no wai. Otan funti min say no. Em say ye wo baby ro. Eko bin kuana nka mewu. Eko bin kuana nka masei. Nanke bede na yoya. Usukura mia na mi kro. Na mi kana gensega. Na so ma do puti anye ni ajiyo. So na no mi ya wo bi do mi wai. Nanke bede na yoya.
We want to seek the blessings of protection from the Almighty Allah. The daughter will call upon the resident Imam of the Minnesota Marine Association, Imam Muhammad Dukle, to do the opening prayer for us. Imam Dukle, please welcome on the podium.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. اللهم صل على عبدك ونبيك ورسولك محمد صاحب المعجزات والآثار والدلالات والكرامات والأنوار، وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأهل بيت الأخيار وأصحاب الأبرار والمهاجرين والأنصار والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أحبتي في الله. All protocol observed. We like to praise Allah at this moment and under the circumstances we can assemble here this evening to induct into office officials that have been elected to serve our community. We thank Allah for this. We thank Allah for the guest speaker, for everyone who traveled far and near to be here in order to grace this occasion. And just before we pray, I'd like to leave these few words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to our newly elected leaders. And for anyone within this forum that would like to serve as a leader, if you observe these cardinal principles, you will be the most beloved. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Afdal muluk man utiya thalatha." The best of leaders, it is one who observes three cardinal principles towards his subject. Number one, ara'afa. When you have power as a leader to punish, to chastise people, perhaps people who have even said things against you, who have stood in your way, one or many times, you say, you know what, as a leader, I forgive you. Particularly when you have the mantle of authority, you can punish, you have the power to hammer people down. You say, no, you know what, I forgive you. Arafa. Well, Jude, the Prophet ﷺ said the second cardinal principle for any leader in the world is one who gives. Now, giving doesn't mean your money, just your money, or your food, but even smiling countenance. You must be approachable. You must be one when people see you say, yes, this is our leader. You must give. Wal adil, the most important of all the three, is justice. You must be a just leader. You must be a just leader. Now, justice is one of the ways, it's very difficult sometimes to administer. Because, and so, they said, now it's my turn to pay back. No. If something happened between me and Paul, and you being a leader, if I'm right, not because we had a problem before. So the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, though you may have had a problem, but give justice in the eyes of your enemies. Oh, this guy is like this. And I give you an example of one of our leaders, one of our imams. Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullahi alayhi, he's one of the 4 imams. He used to have a neighbor. And this neighbor was a drunkard. He would get drunk and disturb the imam all night. And Mr. President-elect, Vice President, Secretary, people who cause trouble for them. This guy would sing songs all night and disturb the imam. He reads the Quran, he performed Hajj, midnight prayers. Your noise. So in the morning, he went to find his neighbor. When he went to his neighbor's house, he was told that this neighbor landed into trouble with police yesterday, so he slept in the jail. So the imam stayed right there and proceeded to the jail compound. And this imam in the world at the time, Imam Abu Hanifa was the most profound, erudite Islamic scholar in the world. So when the governor of Basra heard that the imam had gone to the jail compound for this guy, he ordered his able lieutenants to go and free that guy. So they went and freed this fellow. So this fellow came to the imam and asked, why have you done this for me? Guess what he said? He said, because you are my neighbor and you have certain rights over me, and I'm not neglectful of those rights. So the guy asked, but can this religion of yours protect people who are not part of it? The imam said, yes, you're my neighbor. Irrespective of what you do, you're my neighbor. They said, what can I do to join you? He said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There's no God except Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, not a son, not a brother. He said, that's all? He said, yeah. And that guy became a Muslim. So we all have the opportunity to make changes in our community. What about your brothers? What about your sisters? So I am asking for those of you who may have voted for KAFUMBA, or you didn't vote for him, or you like him or you don't like him, whatever the case might be. This is about MMA. I want you to look at the Bandingo Association in Minnesota. So we have to work together as a community, as brothers and sisters. Let us put the relics of the past behind us and start anew so that we can achieve a goal. What is the goal? Number one is to unite us, and then we raise our kids under our cultural umbrella so that we know that these are the values that our parents, our grandparents shared. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen our iman. Closing, before I pray, brothers, victory and help go with zeal and earnestness, not with greed, lukewarmness, and timidity. Discipline and obedience are essential for service. The rewards for service are not to be measured by immediate results, but accrue in countless hidden ways. For patience and restraint. Be strong against evil, but kind and gentle among yourselves. The seed will grow and become strong to your wonder and delight. Let us pray. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم إنا نعوذ بعزتك وجلالك من شتات الأمر ومن مس الدر ومن حلول الفقر ومن الأصل بعد اليسر ومن ضيق الصدر ومن عذاب القبر وأمننا علينا يا الله بدوام العافية والستر يا رب العالمين اللهم اصرف عنا كيد الكائدين ومكر الماكرين وحقد الحاكدين وسحر الساهرين وعين الآئلين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين اللهم ما كسمت في هذا الوقت مبارك من إتك وغفران ورحمة ورضوان وعفو وامتنان والنجاة من النيران وخلود في الجنان فاجعل لنا منه أوفل الحظ والنصيب فاجعل لنا منه أوفل الحظ والنصيب فاجعل لنا منه أوفل الحظ والنصيب اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا برحمة وافتراكنا بمغفرة وخاتمتنا بالسعادة وصلى الله على البشير النذير سيدنا محمد خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
So we are not surprised by everything we share about tonight. All critical observe, we have a lot of personality among us. As time progresses, we will make recognition. Will be done, all critical observe. There are some important things now. First of all, I want to announce, like the door is open, free of charge. That is meant to encourage many people to come in. In order to honor the cost, we want to encourage you to buy a raffle ticket. You may have a chance to win a state of eye vacuum. The Brazilian costs $500. Basketball, just $5 for ticket. And we also give people envelope. $50 is not too small, $100 is not too big. So we hope you will generously contribute to the welfare of the Minnesota Medical Association. We'll now go to the second item on our list. That will be a remark that will be done by my good brother and the entrepreneurs of this community, a man who has gone beyond everything to ensure that when the community needs him, he will come out and support. So we call upon Honorable Mori B. Kamara to come and do You're welcome in your mouth.
Giving me some recommendation. I don't know if I can withstand that tonight. But tonight is not about me, it's about this community. It's about the people. A few years ago, when we moved to Minnesota, at least a decade ago, a lot of people make a sacrifice for us to be able to realize today. I'm not going to name every one of them, but truly you are part of history. The generation, our children that we are born in this country, will truly be grateful that we have people like you who took upon your time to attend to our call. The call of medical justice, the call of medical freedom, the call that allow us to pass on to our children what our parents pass on to us. On behalf of this, on behalf of the people of this great community, on behalf of the incoming leadership, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, God bless you, thank you for attending to Minnesota Medical Association call. Thank you, God bless you.
Actually, that's how we want it. You know, we promise to have ample time to dance, few time to talk. You know, we the Liberian people, French-speaking people always say the Liberian agenda is to throw men. Aujourd'hui, c'est pas trop. We want to keep it short. All right, thank you, Mr. Kamara. So, the third item that I will raise is the introduction of a guest speaker about our own daughter, Ms. Makeme Kamara.
Mr. President, Honorable Mohammed Enzadala, Mr. President-elect Honorable KAFUMBA KROMAH, heads and chairperson of our sister organizations, elders, clergy, dignitaries, guests, and well-wishers, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. The guest speaker is the daughter of Nima County. She started her education at the William V. S. Tubby Elementary School in Pei, Nima County. She's the daughter of Ali Haji Musa Jabata and Haja Mamawa Kabelu Jabata, both of whom are deceased. May their soul rest in peace. Amen. She is the founding vice president of FAMUSA, former deputy commissioner at the Bureau of Maritime Affairs in Monrovia, Liberia, and former deputy minister and acting minister of planning and economic affairs at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs in Monrovia, Liberia. Our guest speaker is a lawyer by profession. Please welcome Counselor Mamiata Jabata Sri.
Thank you. So many women around here. Well, the Minnesota Medical Association decided to call upon me. I'm so happy and delighted for that. Wow. I'm very happy to be here tonight. I want to thank this organization for inviting me to share with you some insights about how to empower women through education and leadership. One of the most difficult words to define is the word education. There are as many definitions of education as there are educators. For me, there are two definitions of education that I like. Those I wish to share with you tonight. Education is the idle process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge for a particular purpose. Process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the power of reasoning and judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or others intellectually for mature life. That is the first explanation or definition of education in this 5 parts definition. Secondly, education is the act or process of acquiring particular knowledge or skills as for a profession. Thirdly, education is a degree, level or kind of schooling, a university education. Fourth, education is a result produced by instruction, training or study. Education is a science or art of teaching individuals. Education is not only book learning. Education is what one learns from the cradle to the grave. We are educated through the experiences we gain throughout our entire life. We gain education every day. Some of the education stays with us through our lives. Some are important education, and others are less important. Education is only important if you can use it, experience it physically, mentally, emotionally, or intellectually. The other definition that I cherish is not from the dictionary. A friend shared this with me once. He said, even what you know. Education is knowing what to do and where to seek and find some information when you need it. Education is knowing where to find your resources when you need them. So then we ask the question, education for what? The answer is education for empowerment, education for social change, and education for capacity building. Education also for critical consciousness. Education helps you to be aware of your surrounding, yourself, and your world. Education also helps you to know about other people. Our theme today is education for empowering of women for capacity building and leadership. How do we do that? Empowerment comes through education. When women are educated, they have the ability or capacity to make their own decisions and own choices. When women are educated, they have the ability or capacity to get high-paying jobs, high-profile positions in their places of work. For women that are married, they need husbands that are understanding, that they and their daughters need to have some education so that their lives will be improved. The society from which we come, women always depend upon their husbands to be the provider in the home. But nowadays, educated women have the ability to be the head of household and provide for themselves and their children. Liberia, Malawi, and other countries where women are head of state are a good example of what education can do for a society. It is a common knowledge that empowered women are protectors of and advocate for the continual well-being of their family. When a child is sick in the home, who feels does the child see late at night and early in the morning? Is it not the fears of the mother? Both men and women need education. But in this recent time, who prepares food for the home? Who takes care of the children? Who does most of the housework and cleaning, putting things in place in the home? Is it not women? Girls who have been educated are likely to marry later and to have small and helpless families. Educated women can recognize the importance of healthcare and know how to seek it for themselves and their children. Education helps girls and women to know their rights and to gain confidence to claim them. However, women literacy rates are significantly lower than men in most developing countries. This is what makes education exceedingly crucial, especially for Mandingo and other women. Mandingo women for long were not given the opportunities to acquire Western education. Most of the education Mandingo women received were traditional and probably Quranic education. The boys were sent to school and girls were left behind. The role of women were expected to be different, and the roles of men were expected to be different roles in our traditional society. There was strict division of labor. Even children had their roles. The women were expected to be basically homemakers, child burials, and caretakers. But in today's world, men and women are competing for the same opportunities, the same job, and same education. Unless you acquire that education, life will continue to be difficult, just as it was for our foremothers and those that have gone before us. A new day has arisen. We are at the twilight zone when the day of a new generation is breaking before our eyes. Things will not always be the same. The 21st century brings its own challenges and opportunities we must face. Technological changes are taking place all around us at the speed of light. We cannot afford to regress. We must move forward, or else we will be left behind. The same literature I quoted above also remarked that the education of parents is linked to their children's education at 18. And the mother's education is usually influential than the father's. An educated mother, greater influence in the household negotiation, may allow her to secure more resources, courage, and the means to acquire it. This requires determination, hard work, and the capacity to be focused on your goal. If I can do it, you can do it. If other women can do it, we can do it. When you are educated, you will want your children to be educated because you will know firsthand the value of education. That is the challenge Mandingo as well as other women face around the world. And your earning will be higher. You will be able to demonstrate your skills and knowledge in any particular field like any other woman. It is not usually where you came from, but it is where you are going that matters. In most instances now, it is not what you know or who you know, but what you can do that matters. It is a blessing to have many children. But nowadays, there are just too many demands out there competing for our loyalty and allegiance that we have to prioritize and be discreet about the choices we make. In the past, our parents had to make decisions about which children to educate and which one not to educate. They too have so many children, and you know which children were left out. But an educated woman will make sure she bears only the number of children she is able to support. Women are an asset to every society. Women are the cornerstone of the family, the home, the community, and even the larger society we live in. Our roles should be more than just caretaker, child bearers, and homemakers. We should be able to participate fully in our society, contribute our quota to getting our institution beyond just caretaking and homemaking. Where then does the empowerment come in? When we are able and willing to send our children to school, I mean both boys and girls, that is the channel through which empowerment takes place. We should build a culture of excellence and inclusiveness. Being a Mandingo woman, I know that the road is filled with many obstacles that can make the educational path challenging for females. Being there, done that, I know what I am talking about. It is not easy being a woman in a man's world, but the challenge is not insurmountable. The ranking is high, but with family and community support, we can gain the strength to climb that mountain. Sometimes, female students from Africa or other parts of the world face a daunting task with cultural and social challenges related to identity or health issues. Our girls should be supported as they achieve their goals. When we teach our girls to have strong moral characters and take on social responsibilities, we are empowering them to the education. We as adults must encourage a supportive community that can create access pathways for them, no matter what their profession is. So long they earn endless wages and endless work, that is considered as education for empowerment. Career development opportunities must be made available to our girls so that they can choose career and profession they want. When we teach our girls to respect their elders and to respect authorities and keep away from drugs, alcohol, and not engage in or participate in habits that harm, that is considered as education for empowerment. When we teach our girls set goals for themselves and teach them how to love and respect others, especially their mothers and their fathers and all family members, we are providing an education for empowerment. Education is not always in the classroom. Education takes place everywhere and every time we interact with one another. Teaching our girls at home and letting them know that it is important to learn their own culture, their own language, and their meaning of essential symbol in the community. That too is considered as education for empowerment. Only education can much of our problem be resolved. I'm not only advocating education, I am advocating the right education, education for a purpose, and that purpose must be kept in view all the time. I know some of you men who are sitting here today, who are listening to me, would like to have a very good, a well-trained, and well-educated woman, so that you both can make a decent living. The fathers, the grandfathers, the sisters, the brothers, the aunts, they are all challenged to create a conducive environment where women empowerment is a value as a primary task in society building. Our community. In leadership, people disrespect action reflecting low or negative standards like dishonesty, arrogance, or unfairness. So if you want to lead people, you must be fair, you must be just, you must be honest, and you must not be arrogant. The next quality of a good leader is a capacity or ability to be a good listener. Listen to what your members are telling you. Be able to hear the yes in every no and the no in every yes. By listening to your members, you will learn what needs to be changed and what needs to be done. You will know what new initiative to honor right as a group and what will discard and abandon. The football captain depends on all the non-players on the team to move the ball from their goal to the other goal to score. He does not move the ball by himself. He depends on all the other players to score a goal. Leadership is a teamwork. Leadership is not an exact science like arithmetic. In arithmetic, we learn that 2 + 2 is 4. Leadership does not work like that. Leadership is an adventure because you can never be sure whether you will reach your goal, at least this time. So as a leader, you have to try again and again, using other methods, other means, other avenues, and other ways to get to where you want to go. But you still use the same process, the process of good leadership. Leadership is a responsibility. Remember that all members of the Minnesota Madiway Association will look up to you. That your job as an officer will be just an honor. It is more than that. It means that the members of the organization expect you to take the responsibility of getting the job done. Tonight, we honor you. They will do the job. If you don't, they will expect you to do the job all by yourself. My husband, Bamuya Salif, most often tells me that every right is a responsibility, and every privilege is an obligation. So this privilege to be an officer of the Minnesota Madiway Association puts an obligation upon you. You know leadership is not always to lead the people by going ahead of them. A leader who moves ahead of his people is bound to lose them and leave them behind. People who have gone to the Middle East tell us that the shepherds in the field watching over their flocks, at the end of the day's work, when the shepherds are ready to take their animals home, they walk behind them. They do not go ahead. A shepherd does not walk ahead by walking behind the sheep. He sees which lamb or which sheep is going astray, and he will go after that one and navigate them to their fold. Sometimes, good leadership requires that we walk behind our people instead of in front of them. That is why it is so important that you begin right now to learn what leadership is all about. Being elected as a leader of an organization does not automatically make you a good leader, but it identifies you as a person who others want to follow. If you lead them, do so by showing leadership, by giving direction. A leader is one who enables others and empowers others. A leader is a capacity builder. You are not a finished leader. No one ever is, not even a president or a prime minister. But you are an explorer of the human mind because you are now going to try to learn how to get things done to the people. This is the key to leadership. You are searching for the secret of leadership. Many of them lie right inside you. As you discover them and practice them, you will join a special group of skilled people. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you tonight. All of us who participate in the empowerment of our guys and women in the capacity building and leadership, and the community is looking forward to you and your leadership team for its good work as we strive collectively to build our homes, our neighborhood, and our community, and the larger society. I thank you.
Wow, wow. Yes, that was a masterpiece. And I can tell you, we're going to use it as a textbook. And I will add, if you empower a woman, you empower the world. Councilor Fabiana Jabatel Salif, I think among the 3 officials that was selected, we have 1 female. For the most part, the next night is 25%. But if you have 1 or 3, that's 33%. Move further. We recognize one of the powerful presidents in the hall tonight, the presidents of the Federation of the Madiway Association in the United States of America, Honorable Bangladesh Trout. Our guest from the Big Apple and the Manor Run of Chalatel. We recognize the presence of our candidate for the mayor seat of the city of Brooklyn Park. You all know we lady there, LRB people. So, Mr. Joe Marsh Stephen. We will give our chance to make a 2-minute remark. But before then, so we want to applaud your ambition to have some of the largest Liberian communities in the diaspora, particularly in Minnesota. Of course, at the time for us to have our own president. So you are welcome in the hall tonight. Honorable Alpha Bashir. Of course, the chairmen of the $5 million mission we usually take every other year to Liberia, which is famous. I mean, the contribution this young fellow has made to this community, going to philanthropic and going to donor to ensure that we have the necessary medical equipment to take to Liberia. Honorable Joseph Saka, your contribution is a man, sir. Representing us, proud, Honorable Mohammed Dukle, members of the OLM Board of Directors, the professor. I mean, I'm a student. If I don't recognize it, I may not be able to get my name, my C. So Honorable Mohammed Dukle, you are highly recognized. But you know what? We have somebody here called Malin Palin. Some of the high-profile people in the house. Honorable President, so thank you for coming along with the First Ladies of the Medical Associations in Milwaukee. We have the Marlene, which is a female from the Sister Republics of Guinea. Queen Elizabeth Obono, thank you for coming. It's always nice to have you in our midst. Which will be difficult for me. I don't know. Maybe I should call somebody to do that. I don't know how often it is to call somebody that was going to recite the Quran. They having to be your own daughter. I don't want to be biased. So I want to have more idea to do it. But we'll call on our own teacher, Fumba. You are actually doing well for us, ensuring that the children are growing in honor of what I did to you. So we want to call on Fumba. We'll call upon a student to kind of recite the Quran. Is Fumba there?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm very delightful to be with you tonight. I'm very joyful for the fact that in the United States today, we're able to see our children reading the wonderful, fabulous, terrific Word of God to all. So this is a very joyous moment. So thank you very much. My sister, my student will be reading Surah Al-Adiyat to you. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal adiyati dabha, fal mudiyati qadha, fal mugirati subha, wasatna bihi naqa'a, fawasatna bihi jama'a. Innal insana li rabbihi lakanun, wa innahu ala zalika lashahid, wa innahu li hubbil khairi lashadid. Afala ya'lamu iza buthira ma fil qubur wa husila ma fil sudur. Inna rabbahum bihim yawma idhin lakabir.
Takbir!
Haja Manasuma Kamara, happy to be my first daughter. Proud of you, family proud of you, community proud of you. So, you know, some people came before coming here, we already done lunch. I mean eating, so yeah, maybe you are sleeping in the back. I usually don't share Joe, but I will share this one. And I promise you I will share 3. That's it. At most 3 minutes. So what is joke, the next will be the installation of official. But to do that, many times in this community, we don't let too many ideas. We want action. So before they come and install a little official, we want to say, when 1997 HB went to Lofa County. Who was from Lofa County? Taylor on top of thing. So Henry from there wanted to go and say, my people, I brought beer here for you. Idea. At that time, people were hungry, my friend. You and I, Library was not the best player in the 6, 97, 98. In the early 90s. So the book came up. After the local came out and HB went, you know how you can speak. All the big vocabulary, people can't even understand it, just they're going. So one had there raised their hand and said, Mr. Famula, excuse me. He said, did you say you wrote idea for her? He said, yeah. The woman said, their idea will get plenty deer on you. We really don't want no deer in the country. They play all we need is rest. So all of a sudden, Taylor Roger Trout, your passing, plenty right. That was it. We wanted, that was the end of family dream. Of family. All right. Making progress. The next action on our list, of course, will be the remark and installations of our legal official. And that will be done by a brother who traveled from 1,400 miles to come here today. So we call upon the Honorable to come to the podium.
To all the women in the hall, I think we need to say thanks to Mamiata Jabate. Strange thing, Mamiata is my younger sister. So just imagine what I was thinking out there. I was crying with tears and thinking about where I've been. Actually, my life today is because of a woman. The woman's name is Angie Brooks Randolph. She brought me into this country, she mentored me, and she told me the right thing to do. She told me to be an advocate for peace, an advocate for education, and then my sister is talking about education. How nice. And on the singing stage at that, my people, I say, God is good. All protocol observed. And I'm going to call my little sister. Let she come and stand by me. What I'm about to do is the most important one of this night. You know why? Because the officials coming up here, they're going to be standing before God, Allah Almighty, to say, I will do the job and I will do it right. My sister, don't cry. Thank you. You know, tonight, I should have criticized the whole world, even including her. But you know, I'm not going to criticize her again because she got the job done. My parents are going to be proud of you, and your husband, who is not here, is going to be proud of you. And I say, I love you very much. Please come up, and the spouses come along, because this job that they got into, you are going to be with them all the way. Because there are some little kids in the back that want to learn exactly what you are saying. And they would like for you to say, I, with all the spirit and with all the energy, because I think you're getting ready to work. You're getting ready to do the job. It is about time for you. Wow, how popular you are. You have all of these photographers getting ready to take your picture. My mother, Angie Brooks, to the young one, she was the first black woman president of the United Nations. And she did some good work there. May the Almighty God bless her soul in heaven. Are you guys ready? Yes. Wow. If I were to give you a message tonight, and they say I should give a remark, it would be, let's keep it simple. Take your job and keep the work simple, but get it done. Having said that, I would like for you to repeat after me. I do pledge to be the first to uphold and protect the Constitution of the the Minnesota Maningo Association and that of FAMUSA, the Federation of Maningo Association in the U.S. So help me God. Having said that, guess what? With the audience, join me to say congratulations. May God bless you in executing your detail.
People want to shake your hand.
Please, if you can, please shake. So for the next 24 months, we're going to have KAFUMBA KROMAH, Lasana Davater, Tene Kone Kamara. I will be in the driver's seat of this organization. But before we move to the next item, we want to recognize the outgoing administration. As you all know, we fought yesterday that we have been no today. And we fought today, there will be no tomorrow. So let us extend our thanks and appreciation for those that were in charge of this committee. It's not an easy task. We do owe them credit, and we'll forever remember everything they did for this community to pull out to where we are. But you see, Mr. KROMAH been hunting for this position since when, 10 years ago? 2 years, 5 years? I'm not sure. So I don't know how it's going to be like when he will be president signing paper certificate. I want to see that. And I know a lot of people would love to see that. Mr. KROMAH cannot wait to sign a first official document. There's something we're going to do that is special. It's not on the program sheet, which was done deliberately. We're going to be making a certification, and that certificate will be signed right now by the city presidents of the Minnesota Maningo Association. So to do that, we're going to be calling the only Juris Doctor holder we have in the FAMUSA community. I mean, Juris Doctor. So we'll call on Dr. Alhaji Ibrahim Mohammed Fofana JD to please come to the podium. I don't know if that name is longer than the Ghana name, but
President, going to sign the document first. Need your blessings on these documents. First of all, I'm very honored to be the one certificating this individual. We have few good men in our community that have done extremely well, who have taken steps behind their personal lives to make ours better. And you know, I'm just going to go very short. One of them is the Honorable Imam of our community. Mr. Dukle, Honorable Dukle, I'm well aware of the fact that you dislike public recognition of your good service you render, but we are stuck between the rock and the hard place. This is something that we must do. Because of the magnitude of the service you provide us, we feel that it is better we manifest this in this public forum. So on behalf of the Minnesota Bilingual Association, after being authorized, of course, by the President, Honorable KAFUMBA, any thanks and appreciation for your invaluable volunteer and humanitarian service to our community, I want to award you this certificate. Thank you. Making progress. The next person here is someone the Honorable MC has touched earlier. Is someone who has done extremely well for us in this country as well as back home in Liberia. This person, during my term as Vice President for Administration for the Federation of Liberian Bilingual Association, I had the opportunity to work with this person, and I do know for a fact that he led a medical mission to the Republic of Liberia, SACA. I've come to love and appreciate. This is someone who says what he believes, and he believes what he says. This person is here in Minnesota. This person has done extremely well for us in a lot of different capacities, and we all thought that it was wise to recognize this person in this public forum, and I'm very happy and glad to be the person awarding this certificate. On behalf of the Minnesota Bilingual Association, of course, after being authorized by the Honorable President KROMAH, I want to award this certificate to Honorable Bangali Fawali, the President of the Federation of Liberia Bilingual Association.
Thank you. Secretary Allgoing. We also have Lucille Saka, the man who have been in charge of the finance of the Minnesota Bilingual Association. Thank you all so much for what you have done. We know these organizations, this administration is coming to take over with a huge amount of money. And we cannot thank you much because we know how it is to raise funds. You did what you could, and hopefully the next administration will follow your footsteps. You have set the precedent to raise money. With all respect, we want to recognize that. So, the next item, actually, we will skip that because we don't have the chairmen of the Independent Election Commission of the Minnesota Bilingual Association. So if you come later, we will swap it. So we'll move on to item 8, which will be a remark by the man who served for 48 months. And I know how it is. I serve as president. You have to sacrifice your personal time, family time to be there for everybody. What you do, there's no money that can pay you for it. So we just want to use the time to thank you and welcome you to the podium to share with us this last word as he moves on to sit next to me. I'll be the former president because office space has been prepared. So hopefully we all will be ambassador to the incoming president. So Mr. Mohammed Enzadora, welcome to the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, Madam Guest Speaker, Mr. Historian Officer, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, our dynamic Financial Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a historical moment in our community. having served this community for the past 4 years, I'm very glad to stand before you that we left a legacy that will continue in the name of our community, in the name of the Marigo unity. I want to wish the incoming administration the best of luck. I'm also praying that they do better than what I did. I'm praying for them to succeed. The name Dole have to disappear. I want to hear the name of Mr. KAFUMBA KROMAH in our community. If the member of the community have to be willing to give their cooperation and support to the Honorable President. So I want to urge you all tonight. As of tonight, please, let we all stand up and be there to support the incoming administration. The leadership is not just about Brother KROMAH. It is not just about me. It is about our community. And together, I think we can do better. So I want to wish you good luck. I want to wish you the best of all. But the support of our community is very needed. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. It has been a blessing to serve you all as your president. And I hope we will continue to do better after I leave office. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Association unit. We disagreed on many occasions, but we look out for one another. The speech made by the outgoing president is a manifestation of that. So we thank him, and hopefully he will be consulted on critical issues. Because we know he has served, and the president will always want to ask him when he informed. So Mr. Adolet always expect a call. Now, we want to hear from the man himself. The man we've been waiting for 4 years. But you see, dollar make your job difficult. What dollar said nowadays, you can't just jump the gun. Whatever you're doing, you must investigate because, you know, in the Republic of South Sudan, there was a Peace Corps guy who left in the United States to go to Juba. You know how they look in American people, wherever they go, their routine, they jog in the morning, jogging. But you know the people were traumatized. Traumatized people from war fronts, you didn't see people running or run. You see people now say a rebel. So Mr. Rebel got in the morning, Juba started jogging around. For every door he passed by, people would join him. So to him, he celebrated, you know. People want to jog. But he didn't know the people were jogging, saying that the women can run away from a rebel. And I understand. So for every door he passed by, people join. So he just smiling, joking. So after some time, the people got tired. He said, "Excuse me, sir." So Mr. Rebel said, "What's going on?" He said, "When you saw the rebel?" So Mr. Rebel said, "No, I'm just joking." And all of a sudden, he said, man, we should have asked from the onset. So Mr. KROMAH, you need to ask. Don't jump the gun. Whenever you hear something, ask. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome His Excellency President, Reformer, Creative, Visionary of the Minnesota Marigo Association, Honorable KAFUMBA SAMUKAI KROMAH.
Thank you, Justino. Thank you. Let me begin by telling you that the speech is like Julius Caesar, well, the will, read the will. I'm not going to read this will. In the interest of time, the speech well written, in the interest of depoliticizing our community, in the interest of uniting our people, I have decided just right here, right now, that I will not be reading this speech. Now, it leaves you wondering as to what was in the speech. Trust me, there's nothing divisive in it, but I just believe that after listening to so many speakers before me, and after listening to President Dollar, I'm going to keep calling him President Dollar. In Liberia, we say, once a president is always a president. And I have said President Dollar will continue to be my president, just as President Ishmael will be, and just as President Musa Kamara will be, and the rest of them. So please permit me to now read this speech and just talk a few minutes on some of the things that we have ahead of us. Let me begin though by acknowledging Honorable Guest Speaker, Honorable Installing Officer, friends and well-wishers, people who travel from far away, and I really want to mention Garifo by name. I want to try tonight, I want to try as much as possible to not do any personal recognition, because every time you do that, there's a room for forgetting that last person, and then hereafter, you have yourself to blame. So I do not want to do that. But the reason I want to mention Garifo by name is because I spoke with him yesterday, and he's here today. I can only imagine how much that ticket will cost. But yet he's here. So did a lot of other people. A lot of other people who travel from far and near just to make this occasion. Let me also acknowledge friends and fans of Mandingo Nation, the Liberian Diaspora Forum talk show. Brother Sion Yewule is here to support in that capacity. I'm on my bike to invite her teacher to this event tonight. She be there, her teacher has to be invited. And she took the invitation while I was in the restroom, and she brought it to her teacher, and there's my Miss Katie from my daughter's school. Now, having said that, it started last night when we had meet and greet. The struggle started way before that, don't get me wrong. But last night we had what we call meet and greet. And at the end of that, I had a different impression. My impression was, rather than swearing me in as president, I think they should have said I'm being sworn in as the servant of the people. Because from the onset of the event yesterday, there were so many people. When we gave people time to speak, there were so many beautiful speeches. By the end of the night, I had a vacuum cleaner cleaning after everybody else. The first of its kind. And you know, I suspect the scene will happen here tonight. When the lights are off, you will all be gone. I got $1,000 check here for security deposit. So I suspect my beautiful wife will be helpful, will be cleaning here when you are all gone. So when it comes to, having said that, I want to speak to some of the issues that President Dollar brought out here. This is not about me. It's not about President Dollar. As a matter of fact, it's never been about him. And I don't think it should ever be about me. It's about the Minnesota Mandingo Association. What we have together is greater than any single one of us. And so whether you like me or dislike me, it's irrelevant, it's immaterial. What you should ask yourself is, do I like my community? And I'm sure if we were to ask for hands, there's not a single hand from the Mandingo community that wouldn't go up. Because we all love this community so dearly. Even as a founding member of the Minnesota Mandingo Association, I'm really proud to see what we've achieved. And so, oftentimes the question has been asked, like someone wrote on Facebook, on the listserv yesterday, you keep on Mandingo Nation's website. That has been a great success. You are not satisfied. You came up with the Liberian Diaspora Forum talk show. That has also caught on like a wildfire, way beyond the Mandingo community. Why do you still want to be president? And I thought for a while, I said, well, it's not that I want to be president. That's not the point here. If I wanted to be president that bad, I could have been the first day we funded this organization. We struggled to find leaders. When we first met on February 18, 2001, nobody wanted the leadership. At the end of the day, we chose to give it to the oldest person among us, who happened to be Brother Moses Dukley at the time. He did a great job, and he left, just as all the other people did after him. But you see, what I have come to realize is that whether it's Mandingo Nation or the Liberian Diaspora Forum, those are all things that I did by myself. And what I've come to realize is that when you do stuff with people, it's more greater, more significant than what you do as individual. Just think about it. Since our first election in 2012, so many people contributed cash, their personal time, food items. They provided a place for us to meet and discuss. President Dollar, on the other hand, had a great number of supporters. Obviously, that's why he won 2012. So the thing that keeps coming to my mind is that imagine if any one of us, whether it's President Dollar or it's me, if any one of us had a collective support of the community, the people who supported me and those who supported him, if all the people can come together and not support me, not support you, just support your community and see how much we can achieve. Perhaps there's no better time to even talk about that than now. Why now? Because we just left the mosque Friday. And Imam Dukle, Mohammed Ba Afaba, they've been working tirelessly to make sure that we secure a mosque of our own. And I know, I hope you do, that there's no way we can accomplish that unless, of course, we come together as a community, irrespective of our differences, regardless of who you voted for, regardless of how long you've known the person. Let's put our common interests above all of us so that we can achieve them. So I think my message tonight, the one I really want to leave you with, has to do with unity. And I know I was more not to talk about it because there are some who think that the message of unity has been overemphasized, has been preached, but yet not much progress has been made. I disagree. We cannot stop talking about it. So when you think hard in yourself, why should I support KAFUMBA? Or ask the second question, is KAFUMBA working for himself or is working for the community? So by the time you ask yourself that, I'm sure you will find a suitable response that will, make it workable for you to find it in your heart to work with us to make this community better. This community didn't get to where it is overnight. People work hard. There are so many of them in the hall here, and we cannot name them. Then we might have to name the entire hall. But people have really invested time in this community. And it is my hope to keep that light, that candle burning, to keep on the good work. Whatever it takes, that's what I'm prepared to do. Let me quickly, state though that the questions as I walk here in the hall that people ask, what are you going to do different from President Darling? That's a good question. And I have said during our debates, and I've said during the election, that we will review all of the things that the past administration, has done for the last 4 years. It's easy to review them. We were right here, we're part of it. Without even looking at them, I can tell you right off the bat, many of the things that were done were quite in place, and so we have no business to undo those things. We have no reason to do that. In fact, I said during the debate that if you belong to the 95% of our community, you probably think this community is where it needs to be. We don't need anything else. The 95%, of course, being our wives, our sisters, who come here to party with us, and that's great. We're going to party and party more, I can assure you that. I'm so blessed to have a vice president who is so vast when it comes to organizing events in the whole Twin City, who has also assured me her support to make that happen. They have nothing to do with what President Dollar did. They have more to do with structural issues. MMA on the surface is a great organization, but there are things that are lacking that we need to put in place. I have said time and time again, and I will say we cannot have an organization of this magnitude without having a board. I have said that the board will tear down the organization like many other communities across the nation, but I disagree. The board function will be defined in the Constitution. They will have no more power than what the people will give them. And so if you have a board like that, just like my own powers will be, I don't see how the board can tear the organization. we found situations here when bow was most needed. In the absence of a bow, Imam Dukle has done a great work. I remember sometime in July we all assembled at his house to set up disputes among almost all of the men of our community. It was the most attended meeting that I've ever been to in recent time. We all remember that. And the interesting thing was, not a single soul was there that wasn't accused of not speaking to somebody. Even myself, my brother Carlos accused me of not speaking to him. And I gladly apologized to him in the presence of the Imam, and we moved on. Now, what Imam Dukle did was a great job, no question about it. In fact, I want to encourage you to do more of that, because I got names of new people who are not speaking to each other so right now. But the point is, we should have a bow. Imam Dukle is getting busier by the day. More and more people are beginning to need his services beyond our community. So we need to put a bow in place that can handle those things, that will supervise, work hand in hand with the executive so that we can put better rules and regulations in place. We will set up, initially we appoint people to set up an interim board as we review the Constitution and make appropriate amendments. Once that's done, we'll start electing people to board. Those who wish to be on the board will register as such, and we'll vote for them as such and put them in those positions. We need a board. We're going to have a board. There's no ifs about that. The other thing I have said is that I think the presidency of MMA is a little bit over too powerful. And this is strange for an incoming president to think to want to give away some of your own power. But I don't see this as power. What power do you actually have? You don't have a police force, you don't have a military force, you don't even have an office. So what power do you have? In our community across the U.S., I have been seriously troubled by the fact that the president of the local chapter will also be a sitting member of the Federation board. I think that's overlapping. That will not happen. I will not say Dr. Musa Board, as I said in debate. I'll tell you right now, we have enough competent, qualified, highly educated people here that can serve that capacity. What we see here, the state and the federal government, why would the governor of Minnesota be a senator or representative in Washington? What are you doing there? So I will not do that. I will not do that. And again, initially, we're going to appoint people there beginning next week, next month. We'll review our representation of the Musa Board, and we'll make changes if we deem it necessary. Initially, we appoint, but again, by the end of my term, we shall elect people to the board. It should be an elected position. If you want to be on FEMUSA board, get to your people, lobby for it, get elected, go to FEMUSA. So that way, even when I'm gone, the next president cannot remove you. You are elected, not appointed. So we need to do that. So for the president to sit on the board and to also appoint additional person on the board, it's a great thing, but I don't intend to do that. All right, the other thing, the last thing when it comes to, the FEMUSA and MMA thing has to do, of course, with the voting thing. Every 2 years, FEMUSA has election. So it's not enough that the president sits as a board member. It's not enough that he or she appoints some additional body, but also he gets to handpick all of the voting delegates to vote. You can imagine why some people will never, ever see the ballot to go to FEMUSA election. So again, I have said, and I'll say again, that we intend, to make that process a little more transparent. We'll set up a mechanism. I don't have all of the answers. I'm not telling you that this is how you're going to do it. We'll go to meeting. I hope you come to meeting. So that we can find a better way to do these things, a way that is more, understandable, more transparent, a way that we can all be proud of. Other states have tried. Look at Philadelphia. Their representation of the FEMUSA is an elected position. And the sad thing is, in the past, many states learned from Minnesota. But it appears as though they are leaving us behind. We now have to copy them. So we cannot accept that. We are going to come down here and revisit, look hard in ourselves, and do well, just as we did before, so other states can learn from us, now us learning from them. Once we get those things done, constitutional review to reflect the current realities of today, include FEMUSA, discuss it in detail, then we jump onto the social aspect of our organization. That is the part that has done very well. And as such, I don't intend to do a whole lot about the social organ of our organization, other than the fact that I'm really proud to be a member of the Minnesota Mandingo Association, an association that has more former presidents than any single African nation you can ever think of. We got 5 former presidents. Where in Africa can you find that? So as such, I intend to add what I call President's Day to increase our many days of celebration. So as to raise, we will add what we call President's Day, so a great man like President Dollar and all the other people before him can be remembered continuously. We'll put this in the Constitution, so it will be required of anybody coming. See, your wife knows the hustle, man. My President's Day, and I believe this organization raised revenue mostly from social gathering. Our women are the ones with the money, not us. They work for themselves, many of them do. They work in hairdressing shops and other jobs. And we want to do whatever it takes to get their money into the organization's coffer. And we know the more social activities we have, the more revenue that will come to us. So to increase our social activity throughout the year, I will strive tirelessly to add President's Day celebration, and we'll have party on that. Once that is put in place, we will look again to see, well, just what do we need to bring, who do we need to reach out to? Now, bear with me. I know some of these things are not correlating, but I'm doing this on purpose because that's why I refuse to read a speech. Because if I read a speech, it'll take us forever, and I hope it's not taking forever already. But ever since I was elected as president, there were names of people, some made it as those who have threatened to resign from MMA just on hearing that I've been elected. Don't worry, I'm not going to name anybody. All I want to say is that I have reached out to many of those people, and I've done so deliberately. I continue to reach out to them. I call them up. I try to find out what their issues are. And if there's any way we can find compromise, I'm prepared to go that way. You do not have to resign from this association. And by the way, if it interests you, the greatest issue, the single greatest issue of our disagreement, as far as I remember, or at least for what I've been told, had to do with the idea or my ambition to change the nomenclature of MMA from Minnesota Mandingo Association to the Liberian Mandingo Association of Minnesota. Now, I understand there are many among us who profoundly disagree with that. And I have you there rather. At the debate, I promised President Dollar when he loudly asked me the question on behalf of many people that I do not know, and I told him, I said, I truly believe we have to do this because it's the right thing to do. Why? Because as a founding member of MMA, I know why we need MMA. We name it that way because at the time there were hardly any Mandingo here, let alone Liberian Mandingo. So our goal was to attract Mandingo from everywhere. And initially it worked. We have Mandingos from Ivory Coast, Gambia, Mali. We went to a few meetings. But every time they came to meeting, we were discussing Liberian politics, we were speaking Liberian, So eventually they didn't find themselves within the organization. They all left. So today, with as many of our people as we have here, it's just my opinion. I thought it would be a good thing to do. I also think it would be a good thing to do because the Federation of the Liberian Mandingo Association, for instance, I think will help us to fit well within that. That says the Federation of the Liberian Mandingo Association. That's what it says. And so I worry that when we collect money from Mandingos from all over, which is a good thing, we want money, and give it to an organization that's limited to Liberia, I thought there's a potential lawsuit there if somebody wanted to. You collected my money, I'm not from Liberia, why are you giving it to the FEMUSA Medical Mission? Are you going to have medical mission in Mali next year? I worried about that. The other thing too is that since the formation of this organization, we have never had a guest speaker from anywhere but Liberia. True. Look down the line. Even the late Vice President, Dr. Harry Moniba, was once a guest speaker for this organization when Ahmed Salif took over. That tells you how much deep the organization is. But yet, when you talk about making a small change to the nomenclature, the roof comes down. And so I yielded at the debate. I said, my 2 years to go, we'll leave that issue as it is. Since that is the issue that's going to bring division among us, I will not go that route. Anything that has the propensity of dividing our people, I'm going to stay away from that. Unless, of course, there's a moral issue involved. And the vast majority of our people see it morally fit to do. You can rest assured I'm going to press that to the level. Now, I don't want to take all of your time. I can talk. Many of you know that. With speech, no speech, I can talk. I don't want to do that tonight. So I want to leave you by encouraging you to please come on board. Even if you love President Dolly, I do. I truly love President Dolly. I tell you, I called him just a few nights ago, and true story, he's right there. And since we had this inauguration preparation going on, when I called him, he said, President-elect, what do you want? I said, I just got to say hi. I don't have to want something. I don't have to be needing something every time before calling you. Now, of course, my anticipation was a return call. I've yet to get that. I guess it's coming. It will come. President Dollar will come in. All right? But we need to call each other often, and we need to unite. This is not about Dollar. I don't know how many times I need to say that. It's about your organization. If you love Dollar, if you love what Dollar did, that's the more reason why you should come to our meeting, to make sure that we don't outvote, some of the ideas that Dollar wanted to preserve. Because if you don't come to the meeting, if only people who love KAFUMBA come to the meeting, you can tell how the votes will go. Lastly, let me talk about the critics here. I know Honorable Mohamed Dukle, OLM board member, has called me and told me, quite frankly, that he's going to be a critic. He's going to criticize me. And I appreciate that. I truly want more of Dukle to come out. Because I don't think there's been any more critics in Minnesota here than me. I have criticized every single MMA administration. Every single one of them. So this is your chance. Come on board, criticize me. Just do it fairly. Just do it fairly so that we don't lose track of where we're going. Lastly, I want to acknowledge my family, my beautiful wife, as you all saw. Everything that I'm doing, whether it's my Dingo Nation, whether it's the Liberal Diaspora Forum weekly talk show, or whether it's this job that I just took tonight, a job without pay. It is called time that I'm taking. That at night, I'm sitting down updating website, and she gets angry, she goes to bed. So sometimes I just end the night on the couch. In the morning, we talk about it. So I just added on to that response. So I want to thank God for her patience, and I look forward to working with all of you. If I offended anybody during the campaign, during the election process, please find in your heart to forgive me. It was a mistake. It wasn't intentional. Lastly, the host of the Inaugural Destiny Debater is also here to support me. I want to leave it there so other people can come and talk to you on more substantive issues. I know there are better speakers than me. So thank you for coming here tonight. Thank you.
We're happy that the president promised that it was so sweet, right? Because if the speech was long, we were being here all to 6 a.m. So he just took off many times from those that are supposed to get reminded. Sorry, but how many people are going to get reminded more? People are complaining, they need to dance. We promise that it's going to be short time. That run people your agenda too much. So we're moving on now. Next will be a remark, and the remark at most 2 minutes. We need to dance, we need to have fun. So we're going to call on the President of the Federation of the Liberal Medical Association in the United States of America, Honorable Bangali Traore. 2 minutes on a line.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. 2 minutes is just enough for the President of the Federation. I should use it wisely. I'd like to first of all thank my chapter presidents here tonight. I'd like to recognize Honorable Isaka Ture, chapter president of Wisconsin. President, thank you very much, President of Georgia, our president, Minnesota, the state of Minnesota, and also my executive members here tonight, Honorable Papa Musa Papa Kone, Honorable Manu Belete, Assistant Secretary General of the Monsieur le Président Communauté Guinéenne, bienvenue. Thank you very much. Actually, this man is not an outsider of MMA. Thank you for helping us build this community. You were there. Oh, happy to be called upon here tonight as president of FEMUSA. This FEMUSA has 13 chapters, and each of these chapters, our membership in those chapters understand that the president of this federation comes from Minnesota. Whenever we travel out, we are pretty much celebrated. We are given a due accord. To my greater amazement, here in Minnesota, this MMA, I believe, have failed to recognize this president of the federation. That's sad to me. Evidently, we had a situation here where we had a celebrated star and we were all invited for my chapter of MMA that I served as the first president failed to recognize the president. Just in recent time, we celebrated the very hard work of our dynamic president, Enza Dole, who came, and my dynamic MMA failed to recognize the president of the federation as well. So I was wondering whether MMA is rejecting one of his own. But tonight, I feel so delighted that this very MMA have awarded me a certificate. Thank you, MMA. Just last month, we went to Texas to inaugurate the newly elected officials there into office. And while there, we embarked upon a peace-building process in view of the fact that there was some fracas, something we dearly want to resolve. And in our process, we chose a methodology that was unique to the key players within our fracas. So our methodology was to use our mother tongue, Mandingo, whereby everyone can have equal tune to resolve, because sometimes we feel that the borrowed language we use today, English, we are all at different level. We all don't speak at the same level, and the result, some people will overpower some other. And based on the taste of the elders involved, we use that. Nonetheless, that tends to be politicized, that I, Banali Trawale, president of FEMUSA, chose that method to profile one of our brightest members of this federation, the person of Mamadi Sise. In survey attest that I personally would not have done so. When I was leaving the presidency of MMA, there was a statement made that certain people in MMA were not Mandingo enough. Mamadi Sise called me when I was at work and told me that. I was so disturbed, and I took that very, very serious. We went to Mercy House to resolve that. Even people who were accused of that denied. And I made sure that such a thing should not exist in our midst. Through that, Ahmed Sali became president. If Ahmed Sali can become president on MMA, Ahmed Sali can become president of MMA, I equally believe that Mamadi Sise can become president of FEMUSA. So to politicize such idea of people who were invited, I think that was not fair enough. The chapter in Texas put the Federation president at the back seat. We strongly believe that if we are to work together next into whatever planning of any chapter inauguration, because we want to encourage every chapter to go through this process we're expressing today. Tonight, I want to acknowledge the incoming President Honorable KAFUMBA KROMAH's administration. You are taking upon a huge task. You work along with me as Vice President of this community, and I know what you're capable of. We all know you are an innovative person. Our vision is still there. When you and I were in power, we make sure we account for everyone in Minnesota. So I want to acknowledge you. Out of the beautiful thing you serve, I would like for you to have a complete roster of all of our members. Maybe so tomorrow, when there's an election, it won't have any conflict of who is member, who is not coming. That will account for everyone in our community. Maybe other chapter will replicate. Finally, I want to ask all FEMUSA members to please support this cause. This administration is fighting hard to unite this community. Evidently, you can see our installing officer, Orlando Jabate, someone who has constantly criticized FEMUSA, nevertheless still fighting the Majingo cause. Tonight is here. That shows that we are reaching out to people. Many people of like Randall will be here to work with us. We need to work together. And I ask all FEMUSA members to kindly contribute to what we ask you of in terms of financial contribution. Tonight we are receiving a couple of people who make that contribution, and we are grateful to them. And as you leave here from here tonight, please, we are asking you to do that anymore.
So right now we are going to ask for you to please return the envelope, and we'll be sending.
All right, good evening. Commissioner Toure? Okay. Karen?
Yeah, she's there.
Bongo Kamara Bamba, sorry. At least this time around, we'll diversify. We'll have one female at least working hard. Okay, my 2 minutes starts now, right? All right, thank you very much. I want to take this time to certificate those that won the elections of MMA, this just gone election. At least 3 persons under the constitution of MMA were empowered to conduct the process. That 3 persons emerged victorious. So this time around, I want to certificate them. The first person will be the president